The Japanese system for breaking bad habits and addictions is not about force, punishment, or willpower. It is about understanding your mind, working with it, and slowly rewiring your behavior until the old patterns no longer feel like you. In this ebook, you will learn how to apply core Japanese principles, especially Kaizen and Ikigai, into a practical step-by-step method to weaken any bad habit or addiction, whether it is procrastination,
Social media overuse, compulsive spending, emotional eating, or substance-related behaviors. How the Japanese mind works with habits. In the Japanese approach, habits are not seen as enemies to be attacked or destroyed. They are seen as patterns that once had a purpose. They gave you comfort, relief, distraction, or a temporary sense of control. The problem is not that the habit exists. The problem is that it now leads you away from the kind of person you want to become. Instead of shouting at yourself to just stop, the Japanese method teaches you to observe, understand, and gently redirect.
You stop fighting your cravings and instead learn to surf them. Watch them rise and notice how they eventually pass on their own. This reduces the emotional charge of the habit and makes you feel less like a victim of your impulses. Why willpower always fails. Most people try to break bad habits with willpower, motivation, or short-term discipline. They set big goals, promise to change overnight, and then feel guilty when they slip. The problem is that willpower is a limited resource. It depletes under stress, fatigue, boredom, and emotional pain, which are exactly the moments when you need it the most. The Japanese system bypasses this trap.
It does not rely on how strong your will is today. It relies on how small, simple, and repeatable your daily actions are. Instead of asking, can I resist this craving for the rest of my life? The system asks, can I change one tiny thing in the next 5 minutes? This shift makes long-term change possible, not heroic. Kaizen, the art of 1% improvement. At the heart of this Japanese system is Kaizen, which means continuous improvement. Kaizen teaches that massive transformation does not come from dramatic, one-time changes. It comes from tiny, almost invisible improvements repeated every day. If you improve by just 1% a day, what you do tomorrow is slightly easier, and the habit loop weakens bit by bit. To apply Kaizen to a bad habit, you start absurdly small.
If your habit is doom scroll formats for hours, you do not jump to zero phone use. You aim to reduce it by 5 minutes. If your habit is emotional eating, you do not promise to never touch junk food again. You promise to wait 10 minutes before eating when the urge hits. These micro actions feel so easy that they are almost laughable, but they are powerful because they train your brain that change is possible and that you can win small battles.
The 10-minute rule for surfing cravings. One powerful Japanese technique for breaking addictive patterns is the 10-minute rule. When a craving hits, whether for sugar, alcohol, social media, or shopping, you agree to wait for 10 minutes before acting on it. During that time, you sit with the feeling, without judgment, breathing normally, and simply observing how it rises, peaks, and changes.
Most people discover that the craving does not stay the same. It becomes less intense, more manageable, and sometimes disappears completely. This practice teaches you that desires are not permanent commands. They are temporary waves of energy that pass if you do not feed them immediately. Over time, the 10-minute rule rewires your relationship with temptation, from automatic reaction to conscious choice.
Breaking the habit loop step by step. Every habit follows a loop: trigger, behavior, reward. The Japanese system does not try to destroy the entire loop at once. It slowly weakens each part. First, you become aware of the triggers. What time of day, what emotional state, what environment usually brings the bad habit.
Then you design a tiny new behavior that replaces the old one, while still satisfying the original need in a healthier way. Finally, you reinforce the new behavior with a small but meaningful reward so your brain learns to prefer it. For example, if your trigger is stress after work and your behavior is scrolling TikTok for an hour, your new behavior might be a 7-minute walk outside while listening to a podcast.
The reward is the same, relief and distraction, but now it is attached to a healthier, more active behavior. With Kaizen, you do not try to change the whole loop in one day. You adjust one element at a time and keep it simple enough to repeat without effort. Ikigai, the power of deep purpose. Alongside Kaizen, the concept of Ikigai plays a key role in breaking bad habits. Ikigai means a reason for being, or a reason to get up in the morning. It is the deep sense that your life has meaning, direction, and value. When people feel lost, numb, or empty, they turn to habits and addictions to fill the void.
Creating your Japanese daily routine. The Japanese system emphasizes consistency more than intensity. You do not need dramatic discipline. You need a simple, daily routine that feels almost automatic. Every morning, choose one tiny habit or one craving you will manage with the 10-minute rule. Every evening, reflect on one moment when you chose the healthier option and let yourself feel proud of that small victory. Over time, these tiny decisions build a new identity.
You stop seeing yourself as someone who struggles with bad habits and start seeing yourself as someone who gently improves every day. The Japanese system is not about perfection. It is about progress, patience, and the quiet, steady courage to keep showing up for yourself, even when the change seems invisible.